We're going to talk about prepping paper for a collage today. So in order to start, anytime you prep any kind of paper, we're going to paint it obviously, but we'll do some other things to it. You want to start with a piece of paper that's covering the table. Okay, so lay your paper out to cover the table. You're going to need paper, obviously. You're going to need some water. You're going to need paint. And you're going to need some kind of container to put the paint in, a paintbrush, and a paper towel. So I'm going to move some of these things out of the picture for a minute and show you something that's kind of important to me, is how much paint you use. I have these big food service bottles. You see them like at restaurants where you get sub sandwiches. I don't want to say the brand name of the restaurant. So when you put paint on to whatever tray you're using, you might use one of these trays, you might use a plate. Please don't use too much. So you want to keep it stored so this side is down when you put it back in the tub. But I have these so you can turn it a little bit on its side and just squirt a little bit out, give it a little squeeze, just about that much. Okay, you can see how much it would fit probably on the tip of my finger. You can always put more paint down, but you cannot put it back in, okay? Because it gets all messy and kind of hard to put back in. So I've got blue paint, I've got my water, and I'm gonna get my brush a little wet, and I'm just going to scoop up a little paint, mixing it with the water a little bit, and just start painting the paper. It doesn't have to be overly thick, okay? Having some paint strokes sometimes gives it some interest. If you want it a little smoother, just get your brush a little wetter and spread it a little more. Okay, so there's excuse me, there's 1/2 of a sheet done. And the reason I'm only doing 1/2 of a sheet is I wanted to show you I've done some other ones. So this is green with some yellow in it, and the streaks are cool. I have one here that goes from yellow to orange, a little bit of a gradation or ombre, and then just 2 different colors. So you can see I have a nice variety of colors here. Get the yellow out there. I have a nice variety of colors here to use. 4 sheets should be enough to start with. Any project, you can always go back and paint more. The scraps that you don't use, we will also be saving. So I'm going to set this aside and show you something else. Now, I did not use all of this blue paint. So what you can do is I try to have containers that have caps on them. So I'm going to set this aside and put the cap on the paint. Close it up and put it over by the sink or wherever I deem necessary. Okay, so that's ready for someone else to use. The brush cannot sit out too long like I sat at here, because this is acrylic paint and it dries to plastic. So you want to make sure before you let it dry, you clean this brush in this water and you dry it off with a paper towel. Now, if any water comes out that is blue, it's not clean enough. You may need to take it to the sink depending on how dirty this water is. Okay, so you're going to spend some time prepping papers. I'm going to show you another step. This is just basic painting. I'll show you another way to prep some papers in the next video.